Kentucky Spin. Our four core values: respect, education, dignity, empowerment. Established 1988, Kentucky Spin is a parent training and information center in Kentucky.
Right. Good morning. We hope that everyone is well today. I'm Amber Ham. I am the Training and Outreach Coordinator with Kentucky Spin, and I am just so excited that all of you are able to join us today and getting to learn some ideas and skills on becoming a contributing community member with our Transition Tuesday webinars. We really hope this information will be useful to you. We want to go over a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. On your Zoom dashboard, you should see a Q&A box and a chat box. You can enter questions or comments in either, and we will have some time set aside to address those near the end. Real-time closed captions are available here in the Zoom session. Click on the closed caption button and select Show Subtitles to view the captions. There is a link in the chat box to today's presentations, and any handouts we discuss will also be linked in the chat box. If you do not have time to get to those, no worries. We will send a follow-up email with all of the information from today, as well as any resources that we share. So now a little bit about Kentucky Spin. We are funded by the U.S. Department of Education, which is under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and we have been the Parent Training and Information Center since 1988. We provide families and professionals with training, information, and resources to become effective advocates for their loved ones and clients with disabilities. We also work with children and youth with all types of disabilities from birth to age 26 and beyond. We do not act as attorneys. However, we empower families to effectively advocate for their children or themselves. Our staff are either individuals with disabilities and or parents or siblings to someone with a disability. So now I'm going to hand things over to our Transition Tuesday speakers. And first up will be Davis Rodriguez.
Hello, nice to meet everyone. My name is Davis Rodriguez. I'm the Youth Engagement Coordinator here at Kentucky Spin, and I currently volunteer at the as a youth counselor at my church, and have set up a kind of like a weekly, bi-weekly, depending on the schedules, a fortnight squad night for different youth in the youth group. I'm going to hand it over to Nick now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Carpenter. I'm the youth educator for Kentucky Spin. A little bit about myself. I'm 26 years old. I've had an autism diagnosis most of my life. I have several years of advocacy experience, and I've spent a lot of time using my experiences and my skills to help youth with disabilities, kind of help them, show them what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me as I've transitioned into adulthood, try to help support them. And I go to my local game store, and I help run like board game type events and role-playing games, as well as participate as a judge in like Magic the Gathering and like other card related tournaments at my local game store. So community involvement. Today, just to go a little bit about what we're talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about community involvement. How to become a contributing member of your community is probably something you haven't really thought too much about, how to contribute in the community and what that all means. However, it is a very important thing. It's a very important aspect of your social life and something that you should be thinking about now, especially if you're still in high school or if you're just not getting into college or transitioning into adulthood. Community involvement is really important and something you want to start thinking about and developing those skills now if you haven't yet. And we'll go in here why on this next slide. So today, what we're going to go over is we're going to talk about what community involvement is, why it's important, how you can get involved now and in the future, and how community involvement is related to your IEP. Next slide. So community involvement basically just means it's just getting involved in your local community to make it better in some way. It typically means caring about the people, the economy, the culture, and the politics of your area. It's not super specific. Community involvement really is just getting out into the community somehow, volunteering, contributing, giving back to the community in some way, some form. So your community involvement. This is like a good if anyone wants to. This is a good kind of put in the chat moment. Where I'll just ask if you're available in the community right now, what kind of stuff do you do outside of just maybe going to school every day or going out and working? What kind of stuff do you do right now in your community? And what kind of stuff do you want to do in your community after high school? I won't spend too much time on the slide, but if anyone wants to kind of add things in the chat of what kind of hobbies or things that you do outside of schooling, kind of community involvement you have currently.
Well, for me, I'm actually looking forward to warm weather coming. That coming brings local events that I get to attend and take my young kids out to. I know close to me, there's Murray, Kentucky. They always have a car show and Bark at the Park and some other stuff they'll do this summer to get out and do things and just kind of mingle with the community and get to know the people in my area a lot better.
Abby says that she likes to go out and volunteer. I also volunteer myself. I like to go and help, especially this time of year is when it really starts for me. I like to go to like local conventions and help run like charity events and things like that. And kind of my volunteer scheduling kind of starts around this time and kind of goes all throughout the summer. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into that. And Kelly says that she likes to go to the community theater. It's also fun. There's a little where I am is a little community theater too. That's like a little extracurricular after school program that they do, and they always have nice little shows going on. Oh yeah, so next here, connecting. We talk about how to connect to your community. So you might already be involved in your community and not even fully realize it yet. Because like I said, it really is just there's not like any hyper specificness to community involvement. It can really just be anything. Like if you're in a school club or if you're on a sports team, that's community involvement. If you attend a local library whenever they have their free public events, that counts. As Abby said in the chat, volunteer work. That's one of the more like clear signs of community involvement is going out and volunteering. Attending parks and recreation events, like if you have like a local pool and they do like pool movie nights, or if they just have like festivals or things like that going on, if you have like a local like city festival, that's community involvement. Participating in Special Olympics, as well as doing community service projects. Everything here on this slide is all ways of community involvement that you could be involved in right now and you might not even realize it, or also easy ways for you to get involved in the community if you aren't doing any of these things right now. So why should teens be involved in the community? Well, participating in community activities gives you, as a youth, more opportunities to become an independent and successful adult. Community involvement can provide you friends who can help you learn more about yourself, your talents, and even help you learn to make better decisions. I know recently in a previous Transition Tuesday, we've talked about making supported decision making and finding people to help you make better decisions. And community involvement is a great way to find those supports and to make those friendships so you can have better supported decision making.
To back up what Nick's saying, having supported decision making and making friends. When I was in high school, my best friend, long-term best friend that I've had 22 years this year, we met while playing football together in high school. It's a good way to get out, meet other people in the community. And then through also football, we did some volunteer work just because, mandatory for being on the team. And you can just do other things, just even go to your local park, maybe go and play basketball there. Or like for me, one of our local parks has a soccer field. You can go and play soccer. And just other things, just getting out and doing things and talking to people.
Community connections. Your community can provide you with support, connections, and learning opportunities that will help you lead a successful independent life. Can meet a lot of people out working out in the community, and they can resolve so many resources that you can just get access to, which we'll go in a little bit more here in the next couple slides, what I mean when we talk about these different supports and connections. But yeah, like just being involved in your community can help provide you with a lot of wonderful opportunities. A sense of belonging. Being a part of your community can offer a wide range of benefits for your social life and personal well-being. By engaging with your community, you can meet new people who share similar interests and values as you, which can lead to forming meaningful connections that last a lifetime. Like Davis shared with his football story just now. There's people that I have met through different community things that I've known for like over a decade now, and they're friends that I met during high school through my hobbies and through just things I enjoy doing, and I met them, and we're still really good friends almost a decade later now. So some of these connections can like last for your whole life.
Not to mention, the doors it can open by getting you out there and doing volunteer work. If you're volunteering at a local animal shelter or something and giving back, somebody might recognize that, and then later that can translate into giving you a better opportunity because of that work.
So supporting connections, community involvement can provide you with a support system that can help you through difficult times. Whether it's through volunteering or participating in community events, you can build a sense of belonging and supports that can positively impact your mental health and overall well-being. Mental health is incredibly important, and it's good when you go out in the community and you develop these friendships and these connections. That's a support group that you have access to if you're active in the community, wherever it is. Like if you do Special Olympics, if you do volunteer work, if you go to like the church every other week or every week to just participate in church, those are all support groups that you have access to that you can depend on to help you through, to troubling times. If you have times you have like bad mental health and things like that. All support groups can help you kind of help alleviate that stress and alleviate that pain and help you get to better times.
Yes, it really can. Just even joining a local theater group, maybe to express yourself in another way that you normally wouldn't when you are normally in your day-to-day life. Or even if you join, art club or something like that, just something like that you may have a passion for, to kind of help you put yourself out there to meet people that are your peers that can help you support you when you have difficult times.
Learning opportunities. Being involved in your community can offer you valuable learning opportunities. You can develop social and communication skills through increased interactions with others. Like me, I'm not as active in it now as I used to be, but growing up, I was really active in scouting programs. Like Boy Scouts of America, that kind of stuff. That was a lot of my youth, was doing scouting events, going on camping trips, and going to a lot of different volunteer and charity events. And that really kind of got me involved. That's really what got me involved into volunteer work and contributing into the community, was going to these different volunteer events and meeting these different people that had different experiences and kind of had less fortunate lives than me. It kind of helped me open my perspective to other people, and really it helped me develop better social skills. Because growing up with autism, I had to get a lot of speech therapy when I was younger to help better articulate and communicate words. And being active in the community through scouting gave me an opportunity to really develop those social skills better, and my communication skills and interacting with people gave me a lot of good experience that I needed. And now here I am years later with my job, where I mostly just present and I just talk to youth all the time, and I just do presentations and things like that.
Yes, for me, I developed those skills while playing sports in high school. I played football, met my best friend mainly because we were freshmen. We don't see the field a whole lot, so we just hung out on the sidelines chit-chatting. And then basketball, which is a sport I was decent at. And I met a coach that I had from all the way, all the way through high school that I, would see, and had other friends. Just helped me develop how to be more socially aware of what I'm saying, because I was a little awkward and loud. And I come from a very loud family, so it was a good time for me to just really put myself out there and get to know other people, and people really get to know me, and get a sense of community that way.
And when you work out and when you have your community involvement, you start developing critical thinking skills as you can experience real world problems that you'll work through with other community members. So just like being able to, there's a lot of problem solving, especially if you get into like doing volunteer working or if you go into sports. Just being out there problems can come up, and it's a great way to practice just being able to navigate issues, because issues always come up. It's not necessarily just being out in the community or anything like that. Like problems can always come up, accidents always happen, things always don't go as planned. And this gives you a lot of experience being able to navigate through those problems and resolve them.
For me, while in high school, I got the opportunity to be in building trades, which is a class they take you and they put you on a job site, help you just learn how to do different life skills while at the same time getting critical thinking. We actually help drywall side and do the grunt work for a roofing job for Habitat for Humanity for a local family that was in need for a new home. And they actually had a small mini model house, like a roof on the side that we can actually work on, and they would put shingles on to show us, and we could tear them off and stuff like that. And it really just teaches you critical thinking skills of how do you overcome this difficult problem you may be having. And also at the same time, learning a life skill.
And you can also add these experiences to your resume and build a network by making connections through community involvement. Davis mentioned a little earlier about how connections are really important because you don't know when you'll meet people and it can lead to things in the future. Well, this where I am right now, way back in high school, I started kind of like a community, I started like a community support group for people with disabilities back when I was in high school. And through that, I met Kelly Smith, who is the assistant director of Kentucky Spin. And I met her, and this is before either of us even worked at KY Spin. This was years ago, but I met her through that. And we got to know each other, and we became kind of friends through that. And then here, a couple years ago, she's been working at Kentucky Spin for a little bit. She's the assistant director, and a position opens up that she thought was perfect for me. So she went and she contacted me and told me she had this job opening. And now here I am, almost 2.5 years later, doing the same job. So you just never know when these connections will happen, and in something like a job opportunity or some other benefit can open up later down the line just through the people you meet and the connections you make. And now at this point, I believe I'm going to hand it back over to Davis so he can talk a little bit about ways to get involved in the community.
So what if you aren't currently involved, and how can we get involved? The easiest thing is really just ask an adult or another peer what they're doing or what is going on in the community, maybe this summer or spring coming. I know a lot of communities have different events you can go and attend, or a local theater play that you were talking about earlier, or even you can always go to church, get involved through the church, or maybe the Humane Society for go and volunteer and help maybe walk some dogs, take them out, let them get out of their kennel and take them for a walk and do other stuff like that. And most of those things you can do are free, and they don't cost you anything. So you just your time, which is what the whole point of getting involved in your community is, not really getting something back except the reward of potentially a new friend or something, a connection, someone you might help you lead a better opportunity down the road, and just really just getting involved and getting to know your community as a person, and representing it in a good way. And here are some resources we have, just a breakdown of ways you can get involved. This is also one of the things you can will be linked and you can print off and actually have if you want to give it as a handout. Making a connection through a club. There's scouts you can do in your area. There's also excuse me, maybe there might be a cooking class you could take, or You can go maybe read books to to kids at the library, or go biking and hiking is another good way to just get involved go out and just be seen. You can do online games and play a sport and give back that way, your time, your effort. Attend different events and concerts and festivals. Volunteer, like I was saying, at the library or the park or the hospital or animal shelter is a really good one that I know, for at least in my area, they're always looking for someone to help with the dogs or the cats, just to always assistance. Then you have Clarksplay, LARPing, and RPG games. I'm not real too familiar with some of those things, but I'm sure Nick does with what he volunteers with.
Yeah, so here on this, we've referenced like doing cosplay and LARP and things like that. That's I like to reference kind of like local conventions. Like if you have like a local Comic Con or things like that. Doing stuff like cosplay or attending those types of conventions where there's just like other people that, like if you have certain hobbies, like if you're really into Star Wars or you're really into Lord of the Rings or any number of fandoms or just groups of people that like specific stuff. Conventions are a really great way. Not even just comic conventions, just conventions in general. They do conventions for a lot of different hobbies and topics. That's just a great way for you to go out and meet other people that have the same interests. Because if you go to a convention that's for a specific thing, the other people there are also going to like whatever that convention's for. So it's a great way to find other people that share hobbies and interests that you have.
Another good thing is you can just get out and go hiking or fishing or even camping. Join a garden club or volunteer at the park, and clean your neighborhood up, in your local area, and just clean your park up, because sometimes people just don't care and they just treat like their area like, a trash can. Well, you can be the opposite, be a positive change and go and clean up the stuff that people, the junk people leave behind at the local parks and areas like that. Start a new hobby. You can maybe pick up an instrument or an art class or something like that. It's a good way to give back. If you have any other questions, you can always check your local co-op, and they'll have like list of resources you can find. If you have more questions about that, I'm sure an adult or a teacher in your area, your school or wherever you may be located, can probably give you more information on your local co-op. Here's another thing that we're gonna, you get through the links that we're giving you in the email. Just safe places to be online, your local library, clubs and parks and recs, your co-op experiences, and your statewide information's all here in yellow. Music festivals and museums you can go to, how to give back to the Special Olympics, which is always a great reward, just to give back and help and recognize that they're not different than us. They're just because they may be different, they're not actually different, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Decide how you would like to become involved in your community and how you can your current interests translate into an adult experience. For me, I was like the loud, rowdy kid in high school. So I did sports and kind of like my family thought it helped me simmer down a little bit. I was real active in my youth group. And we, excuse me, and we would go like different things as a youth group, and around our community and stuff, which translated now to what I do now. I work through the church because how much the adults in my church gave back to me as a youth. I remember like just the reward, like the feeling I got when like, hey, you get to go to camp this summer. The church is covering it. My mom was a single mom with 4 kids and stuff. So now that I'm an adult, I do my best to give back to the youth in the community because of that. Connecting to the future, what skills do you need to develop to become involved in your choices, and what accommodations do you think you currently need, and what accommodations do you think you may need in the future? For me, when I'm working or doing something, I like to have like noise to help me, because I don't like the quiet. So I was listening to music real low, help me keep me focused on what I'm doing, and that's an accommodation that a lot of people who know me personally know. If I have an AirPod in, it's not because I'm being rude or disrespectful. It's probably because I'm just listening to some kind of nonsense, just real low. So especially if you're like out trying to volunteer, like maybe clean up the park, or like also on Monday nights, I sometimes go to the food bank and volunteer there. If I'm not so busy with my kids in the evening, I'll have an AirPod in and just, helping break up the monotony of things sometimes. Here's another resource we have. You can start your plan and get involved in your community. Things you want to do, things you like to try, things you need to participate in, and where do you get that information? So you just fill it out and things you want. You can get these and print them out. Get the information. Just anybody, ask a friend, what they're doing. Ask an adult or uncle. I say adult, like uncle, teacher, aunt, parents, guardians. Anybody like that. They will be able to tell you local co-op information, just to have all that, so you know what you're doing. So now that you know what community involvement is, you have the resources to assist you. You may want to consider how you can use your time in high school to develop important skills to help you carry out your community involvement plans. This right here. Talk to your parents or caregivers or teachers and friends about what would you like to do in your community. Ask them if they can help you develop goals for your IEP and review simple goals included in image. Oh yes, so sorry. Here in the image is like things you can put as a guideline in your IEP to help you. We developed this ourselves. Miss Abby actually did. She does a fantastic job. Most of these resources we're giving you, actually all the resources we're giving you, handout wise, Miss Abby from Kentucky Spin developed those. Putting it all together, becoming community involved, excuse me, community involvement can provide you with a sense of belonging, support and connections, and valuable learning opportunities. There are many different ways for you to become a contributing member while you're still in high school. IEP goals are a great way to gain skills you need to become a contributing community member in adulthood. For me, I didn't have none personally in my IEP. Growing up, I actually had the opportunity to actually be that involved. I didn't even know that was an option. Kentucky Spin has now taught me that, and I'm very vocal about having the teens who are old enough to be involved, have a say in what you're wanting to, accomplish, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's your life and where you want to go. And you need to hopefully get all the resources you can from everyone in your life who's trying to help you, support you, and have a clear vision of what you would like to go. At this time, we would like to open up for any questions you may have.
We have a question here from question from Abby asking if you ever had a hard time joining something. Go ahead, Davis.
Go ahead, Nick.
Okay. Oh gosh. Yeah, I've had definitely back in school, really it can be hard to kind of get into new hobbies and join new clubs, especially if you have like really bad social anxiety like I do. It can be really difficult to kind of get over that first hurdle of making that first interaction with like the club leader or the sports team or the coach or whoever it is you're going to talk to. It can be really hard to get over that first hurdle to make that initial connection to become part of that activity. I recommend that if you do have like if you're like me, if you have really bad social anxiety and you're really bad about talking to people at first, I recommend trying to get help from like your resource teacher or just a teacher or a parent. And tell them, express your interest to them, someone you're comfortable talking to, express to them your interest in joining something. If you want to join a club or sports team or wherever it is, express your interest to them, and then you can potentially have them assist you and kind of help them break the ice for you and help you assist you in making that first connection. Okay, if you have anything on that, all right. And what do you do when you try to get involved in something and you don't like it?
Well, for me personally, when I was in school, we had an archery club, and I'm like, well, archery sounds fun. So I joined and I did it for a while and just never really liked it. It's a very close knit group. I was new to the area, and mainly the archery club was just for them to get together and to use the school for hunting. And I'm not a big hunter. I'm not a big hunter. Yeah, I'm not a big hunter, so it didn't really fit in. So I went and talked to the sports director at our school and asked, what would I need to do to opt out, and he referred me to the person who actually puts on like the extracurricular activity events outside the what necessarily would be school events, and asked them what would I need to do, and they said, well, what did they provide you, and whatever they provide you is just please return it. The main thing is when you're trying to opt out of something, you don't really care for it, you thought you would, is just be respectful and make it clear, it wasn't good for you, you didn't really care for it, because you never know what, maybe down the road you want to try it again, or if that person's running another event, if you were disrespectful or rude or didn't return something you may have had to return, they may not allow you to join one of the other clubs because of those things.
We have from Amber. Amber asked, how did you break down the barrier of feeling like you didn't belong in community events?
After making my really good friend Larry, he was like a social butterfly. He was a military brat, so he was just used to moving all the time, bouncing here to there, and he's been all over. So just happened to come from him, and he was kind of the guy that helped me break the barrier of like social awkwardness, and stuff like that, and getting involved. And we had a lot of the same interests, so it was a lot easier for me. Like he would go somewhere, and I'm like, oh, you're going, cool, I'll go too, because then I'm not alone. So thing is, if you have that one friend, try doing it together. Don't, if you're scared or maybe don't want to do it alone, don't take someone with you. Even if it's a parent or another adult that you trust, that you may just go with you if they don't participate. Maybe just them being there will help you kind of break that ice to feel more comfortable to join and do things.
We have another question. I find it hard to keep attending things. I always forget. Are there any good ways to help me remember? So great way, great advice for this. If you have a hard time remembering to attend things, I know those and Davis might have some more information on this as well. But a really easy way is to, if you have a smartphone, which I mean, not everyone has a smartphone, but in this day and age, I feel like most people do have smartphones. Having some kind of calendar app, you can put in like if you join like if you join like a sport season at the beginning of the season of a sport, they kind of give you a schedule where it has like all like the meetings, all the meets that they have, all the practices, and you can go ahead and like take that and you can put all that into like your calendar app. Or if you have like a physical planner, you can go ahead and on that planner write in all those days that those sporting events are coming up. Or if you are joining like a volunteer work, usually they typically have like a schedule, or they at least have like maybe like a weekly or bi-weekly schedule. And as soon as you get those schedules, you can just immediately put them into like a calendar app or put them into a planner if you use one of those. Or if you don't use a planner, you can get a planner and start putting in those events, what days they're on, and kind of the information that you need to know about, like if there's a certain place you have to go to meet up for that community event. You can just use like calendar app or planners. That's like probably the easiest way to keep track of those events and remember what days that you have them on.
Another good resource is I love Post-it notes. I take them everywhere. You necessarily don't have to have one this big, and a pen or pencil, and you just keep a Post-it note in your pocket and write down things. So you're like, hey, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. You can pull it out and you can read it, and to say like, oh wait, I'm supposed to go to my art club after school today. I need to make sure my mom remembers. It's another thing, because then you're remembering. Then you can remember also to make sure that you have the proper support to get to and from where you're going to be at. And it's another good way to have a line of communication with the other adults and peers you have in your community. But I really do recommend strongly like Notepad, Post-it notes, anything like that, even if it's a small one, just keep in your pocket with a pen and pencil, because it's always going to be on you, and then you just always can go right back to it if you don't have a smartphone.
Well, it looks like that we don't have any other questions from the chat. And I know I think we're about at our end here. So I guess at this point, since it doesn't seem like there's any more questions, I'll hand it over to Miss Amber Ham to close us out.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As you can see on the screen, here are some references. Davis, if you could skip forward. Okay, so we would love to ask everyone that has attended today to complete our evaluation and feedback. As you see here on the screen, there is a QR code. And one of my lovely coworkers will be dropping an evaluation link into our chat box to make that a little easier if you're unable to use your phone for the QR code. We want to hear your feedback. We take it extremely seriously. We want to serve you in the most meaningful ways. And we would also like to let you know that once you complete the evaluation, that it will automatically generate a certificate of attendance today. So if you are a teacher who is here with a classroom of students, each individual student can also do this feedback and quick survey so that we can hear your thoughts on what is meaningful to you. What would you like to hear more of? What can help you meet some of the goals that you're currently working on? And once you give us that feedback, it will generate an individual certificate to you. These things are important. If you're considering secondary education, or maybe you're looking at different jobs following high school, to keep certificates like that in a binder to show different opportunities you've taken to meet your goals as you approach adulthood. These things are going to look really good when you have an interview for a job, or if you're, like I said, you're moving into that college atmosphere. We also encourage you to sign up for Kentucky Spin's e-news and or youth news. These come out monthly. They also will give you ideas of our upcoming events or any new resources that we put out. We have a wonderful transition team, and they are constantly creating new transition materials to help support you. So please sign up on our website at www.kentuckyspin.com. And finally, we invite you to attend our next monthly Transition Tuesday, which will be on daily living skills. And that will take place Tuesday, March 26th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Visit www.kyspin.com.